Go ahead, Sean. Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming out so early. We were going to fly to Montreal today at 10 o'clock and have pushed it back to 11 o'clock to have today's press conference. Obviously, everybody's heard over the last 12 to 24 hours that we're here today to introduce the newest Edmonton Oiler, Evander Kane. I'm excited today to introduce Evander. I think he's going to have a big impact on our hockey team. He's a top six forward, big, strong, can skate. He's going to give us a lot of different dimensions, can fight, can score, makes us deeper up front. When he got bought out by or his contract got voided by the San Jose Sharks a couple of weeks ago, I reached out to his agent, Dan Milstein, who I've got a good relationship with through our time in Detroit, and said that we had some interest and wanted to explore, and would Evander have some interest in coming to join the Edmonton Oilers. And over the last couple of weeks, we went through a process here, and Evander went through a process to make a decision to come join us. And I talked to a lot of people inside our organization, players, ownership. Obviously, I work with Tip on an everyday basis. Tip and I talked a lot, and came to the conclusion that if there's any way that we could get Evander to come here, we felt that it was going to be in the best interest of the Edmonton Oilers to make us a better team. So I think today's a great opportunity for the Edmonton Oilers. We've added, like I said, a top six player, makes us deeper, makes us better, brings a lot of different dimensions. And I really feel it's a great opportunity for Evander at this stage of his career, that obviously we've got some high-end players, and in a passionate hockey city with, we've got high aspirations, and got off to a good start. And it's been a struggle here over the last 6-7 weeks. Obviously happy to have a 3-game winning streak under our belt, and looking forward to add Evander. And I think you're going to play tomorrow night, aren't you? I think that's the plan. Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, so Evander will be in the lineup tomorrow night, and I'll let Tip say a few words, and then Evander, and then we'll open it for questions.
I'd like to welcome Evander also. Like Ken said, we've done a lot of talking over the last week. Ken and Evander and I had a Zoom call about a week ago. Evander and I have stayed in touch throughout the week. Like Ken mentioned, we've done our due diligence. I've talked to a lot of people that have coached or had Evander in some form or another. And as the week went on, the support that he got from people that he's worked with before was really encouraging in the fact that he could come in and help our team be a really good team. And we're looking to add to our forward group. He's a big, strong player who, I've watched a lot of video of him, touches both sides of special teams, is a real competitor when you in the guts of the game, and those are elements that we feel like we need with our team. And I think it's going to be a really good situation for him coming in here, and we're just very happy to have him join our team.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I want to thank Ken and Dave and Mr. Cates and Bob Nicholson for bringing me in. It's been a very interesting last couple of weeks. I'm happy it's all over, and I'm happy to be here in Edmonton, that's for sure.
Evander, obviously it's rare that a player of your skill set becomes available during the course of a season. How many teams seriously inquired about you, and why did you ultimately choose the Oilers?
Well, I ultimately chose the Oilers just because of the weather. But no, in all seriousness, there were quite a few teams that expressed interest, especially early on. But as we continue the process, obviously, for me, I had to make a decision that was, going to be the best fit for me. And those teams continued to dwindle down, and we got to a number where obviously Edmonton was obviously in the mix. And the more conversations we had, and the further the process continued, it just became more and more evident that this was the best fit for me moving forward, and it was a great fit for both sides.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet. I got two questions. Evander, you've produced everywhere you've been, and everywhere you've been, you've ended up leaving under somewhat cloudy circumstances. What makes it different here, and how do you make this a positive experience from start to finish?
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree in terms of everywhere I've been, I've left under cloudy circumstances, but yeah, there's definitely been different things that have happened throughout the course of certain tenures in certain places. You know, there's a lot of guys that play for a lot more teams than just three, so I'm not alone there. But you know, it also goes both ways. Sometimes you don't want to necessarily be in a certain position or place, and you know, it's best for both sides to move on. But with Edmonton, I mean, look, you got two of the best players in the world here. I just had a tour of the facility, phenomenal. You got a guy like Kenny Holland as a GM, a incredibly experienced coach like Dave Tippett. You know, the team is ripe to win now, and I thought I would be a great fit.
Ken, you've no doubt done your homework, talked to other GMs, and as I'm sure you have as well, Dave. I would ask Ken, what processes do you have in place that to help this thing work, to make sure that you know, this goes better than it's gone in the past?
Well, I think first off, Mark, you know, I think it's gone, you know, obviously, Evander's had a tremendous career in the National Hockey League. You just have to, you know, I always go to the guide and record book and see how, you know, that's one indication of how people have performed, and he's obviously performed at a high level. You know, I would say to you, you know, we've got a veteran locker room. You know, when you think about Mike Smith, who's 40 years old, and you know, Zach Hyman and Duncan Keith. So we've got good veteran leadership, and I think, you know, the players that are in their prime here are, you know, they're 24, 25, 26, 27 years of age. So, you know, it's a good, strong locker room. Being in Detroit for all those years, we had a strong locker room, and I think we've got a strong locker room, good leadership. You know, Evander's 30 and years old, and he's got a lot of hockey left in him. And I think that he's had a good time in his life, that he's looking for an opportunity here, that it's a great opportunity. It's a one-year deal for the rest of this season. We've got, 44 games to go. So, you know, it's an important time for the Edmonton Oilers, and it's an important time in Evander's career. So I think there's good motivation on all our parts to have this work out in the best interests of everybody.
Evander, you acknowledged that there was a mistake that was made in San Jose that led to the suspension. You've acknowledged that. I wonder, outside of that acknowledged mistake, I think maybe people wonder, you know, what your view is of your responsibility for kind of where your career has landed you through a few different teams now, and you know, there have been some things along the way. What part do you think you've played in being where you are today?
Well, I mean, it's a vague question. You know, I don't necessarily have an answer for that. You know, there's certain things that have happened, the majority of them outside of hockey, that obviously have been well documented, whether they're accurate or inaccurate. But for me, it's like I said, I take responsibility for things that I've done wrong, but I'm definitely not going to take any responsibility for things I haven't done.
Yeah, and that's fair. I'm not suggesting that you should. I guess I wonder, do you think there are things you need to do different, or in any way need to conduct yourself differently to get a different result from this experience here in Edmonton? Or are you looking for a different result?
Well, obviously, I'm looking for a different result in terms of success. I think for me, it's life is a process. You know, you're not going to have the same mindset or act the same way from, you know, 14 to 20 to 25 to, you know, now I'm 30. You live and you learn. I think everybody in this room's probably made a lot of mistakes. They're just not documented. They're just not publicly recorded. They're not questioned. So I'm not sitting here saying that I'm perfect, but you know, I think for me, it's just part of life. You know, making mistakes, living, learning from them. I think, you know, it's funny. I mentioned this in my interview last night with TSN. You know, I view myself as a leader. It's funny people think that, I'm going to come in and I'm just some, kid on the playground that's going to disrupt everything, and that's just not the case. I've had a lot of experience on and off the ice. I've been in this league a long time. And I try to share those experiences with guys on the team and try to help prevent them from making those same mistakes that I have. So for me, I look at it as I'm an experienced guy coming in. I'm looking to add to the group in a positive way, and I'm really excited about the opportunity. I think it's going to be great.
And I'll just circle back then. What have you learned through your experiences? What have you learned?
Ryan, we don't have enough time to talk about everything I've learned today. My goodness.
Evander, in your interview yesterday, you mentioned how, and you don't have to get too personal, you're seeing a therapist. And I went and saw one many years ago, just talking to someone else that maybe doesn't judge you, doesn't care about you. Has that helped you? Have you noticed a difference just talking to someone in that form?
Yeah, I think that was more specific just to the gambling. But yeah, I mean, and I think if you watched the interview, I also said sometimes talking about it doesn't help as well. So there's pros and cons to anything you do in life, any situation that occurs, and it's just about how you manage it. And for me, it was one of the things that I look to do.
You mentioned earlier that a lot of the things that were documented didn't really have to do with hockey. So let's focus then on hockey. In San Jose, you were the best player on the ice last year. I don't think there's much debate about that. The team didn't have success, and there was some, distractions, disagreements, teammates talking in the San Jose that they just felt like it was a better time to split up. Can you go into that and maybe to ensure that won't happen, that there's not going to be, teammate on teammate distractions?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the narrative, and it's easy to look at me just because the storylines have always been, I've been the disruptive one or whatnot, and to say that everybody in the locker room I didn't get along with, that would be just incredibly false. It's less than a handful of guys, but it goes both ways. When there's leaks coming from your dressing room in the media, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a good act of leadership or being a productive teammate. So, and they definitely didn't come from me. So, again, I'm not really too focused on the past, what happened in San Jose. Right now, today, I'm here. I'm excited to be an Edmonton Oiler. I'm excited to play with two of the best players in the world, this entire group of guys that have obviously worked hard and, got themselves into a great position to make the playoffs here. And I'm excited to add to that.
You mentioned the two best players. They have a very different style. McDavid is just flat out attack speed. Draisaitl slows the game down more. I'm sure you've had conversations with Dave. Do you see a fit on where you fit in there? How exciting is it when you look at the differences of those two specifically at centers?
I mean, I don't know if there's a winger in the league that would say they don't fit well on either one of those guys' lines. So for me, it'd be an easy fit either way. And again, that's part of what makes it so exciting.
Dave, have you thought what Oiler fans want to know? Where do you expect to start Kane?
Just with both of them. Just put them all together. Like I said to Jim last night, the salt shakers are out here. We'll talk a little bit. Evander and I have talked a little bit so far. Just kind of, we're getting with getting Nuge and Hyman back. It's helped our group now with adding Evander here. We'll go on the road. We'll just kind of work with each other and see where the best fit is.
Question for Evander. Evander, because of the headlines that have followed you in the past, this signing is maybe not one that every Oilers fan is going to universally love. Is there something that you would say to the fans who might say, I'm not sure about this signing, I'm not sure about bringing him on board?
Yeah, sure. I think, if you watch the interview I did last night, I don't know if part 2's come out yet. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do it, is because I wanted to clear up a lot of the misinformation, a lot of the storylines painting me in a certain light that just are completely untrue and inaccurate and false. But yeah, I would encourage them to be open-minded, to allow me to do what I do best and get to know me on the ice, off the ice, around the rink, in the community, and see what I bring to the table. Every city I've been in, I've always worked in the community and done what I can to help make that city and that community a better place, and that's going to be no different here in Edmonton.
As for Ken, how much soul searching did you do in this signing of this player from all your experience in the NHL and weighing the player on the ice with what's happened off the ice?
Well, Jim, like I said, I talked to a lot of people. And I think, Jim, we had a Zoom call, about 10 days ago? I think we had when he first the contract was voided, shortly thereafter, we had a Zoom call, Dan Milstein and the three of us. Again, I talked to people in our organization. I talked to people outside the organization. I think at the end, certainly you're talking about chemistry. I mean, when it comes to talent, his skill set, obviously he's a very, very talented player that's going to make us better. It's not only, the chemistry. I think it's the leadership. And obviously, Evander's gone through a lot in his career. I look at, he's 30 years old. It's an incredible opportunity. Like I said before, it's an incredible opportunity for Evander and our hockey team. I believe Evander's motivated. In talking to him, he's motivated. He's excited about this opportunity, and I'm the same. So I don't know that I did a whole lot of soul searching, but certainly I did talk to a lot of people, and felt that this was going to make us a better hockey team.
And how much conversation did you have with Connor and Leon as to whether this was a good move or not?
Through the years, ever since I became a manager in 1997, I always talked to with Steve Yzerman, and then it was Nick Lidstrom, and the captain Henrik Zetterberg, and now Connor McDavid, and the leadership group. At the end of the day, I got their opinion, their thoughts. Talked to ownership, talked to Bob Nicholson, talked to Dave Tippett, talked to people outside the organization. At the end of the day, ultimately being the manager, it's my decision, it's my final decision, and based upon all the information that I gathered, all the people that I talked to, all the experience that I've had at being a manager for 25 years in the National Hockey League, and counting on the relationships that I've got out there, I felt that today was, if we could add Evander, it would be a real positive for the Edmonton Oilers. And I really feel it's going to be a real positive for Evander, and that it's going to be a very, very, he's going to help our hockey team, and this is a great opportunity because we got some great offensive players, and I think that there's going to be some good options there for Dave Tippett to help make us a better team.
Karl Fazette, CTV Edmonton. I'd just like to circle back to a question that was for Evander. Thoughts on the message to fans, some or many vocal on social media, didn't want this to happen, so what would your message be to the fans, Ken?
Is it me? Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I think my message to the fans would be that, I've done my due diligence. I've talked to a lot of people. As Evander's said, he's been involved, in communities of the teams that he's been in the past. Certainly, we're trying to, on one hand, we're trying to win. We're trying to be a more competitive team. It's a move made to make our team better. At the same time, the time that I've spent with Evander on a Zoom call, we had dinner the other night in Vancouver, spent 2.5 hours together the night before on Monday night, Tip and I and Evander. We asked him a lot of questions. We had a lot of conversations, and over 2.5 hours, you can talk about a lot of things. And I left that dinner feeling that Evander would be a real positive addition to our hockey team. And like Evander said, I keep coming back to Evander's 30. He's been through a lot of experiences in his life, and I believe there's another opportunity here. That can be a positive experience for all of us, for the fans, for Evander, for the Edmonton Oilers.
And for Evander, how do you feel about the scrutiny in a market like Edmonton that you'll be under, mostly for your performance on the ice, but with that comes the off-ice issues in your history as well?
Well, I played in Winnipeg, so I'm good.
Fair enough.
So, okay, you've played against the Oilers, Evander. We are surrounded by the Oilers every day, and we all watch them every day. You're coming from the outside, but you played against this organization for a long time. What do you think this organization needs and this team needs that you're going to bring to the table? What are the things you saw from the other side that maybe you can help here?
Well, I mean, obviously, they're a tough team to play against. It's easy to point at guys like Connor and Leon. But you know, in the past, they've had some big defensemen. You know, you look at a guy like Darnell, big, strong, can really skate, and is able to get up and down the ice with ease. And for me, I think I can bring, and I know I can bring, obviously some more scoring, a physical presence. You know, I like to play with an edge and a bit of a mean streak, and I enjoy that. So just a little bit more, a little bit different of an identity maybe than they've had in the past that I can maybe add to this group.
Thank you.